In the grim darkness of the far future, explosive rounds whiz through the air, chainswords rev hungrily, and armoured feet hammer against the broken ground. The indomitable angels of death wage unrelenting war, and in these boxes are the Dark Angels. Hello there, and in this video I'm going to show you how to paint the different Dark Angels from the Warhammer 40,000 Heroes boxes using our fantastic paints. The paints I'll be using are on screen now. You can also find the paint list in the description below. And if your model is a little bit different to mine, that's absolutely fine, as all the paints required should be the same. We also have a list of the additional equipment we've used, but you can use whatever brushes you feel most comfortable with. If you're new to painting and want to know more about the paints and techniques used in this video, check out our Painting Essentials playlist on the YouTube channel. Before we get painting, we first need to build our model. Building them is super simple, and we can use this guide that comes in the box to help us out. You'll notice that you can just pop the miniature off the miniature's frame. Gently push at the connection points, give them a wiggle, and the bits will come off for you. There's no need for any glue, simply line up the correct pieces and carefully push them together, and you should have these built in no time. There are a few bits of equipment I'm going to need before I get started. These include a water pot, paintbrushes, the servo school palette, paper towel, tufts, and of course, the paints that I'll be using. Right, with all that said, let's get painting. The first step is to add an undercoat to your miniature. I'll be using my pot of Caliban Green base paint to do this. Don't worry if you haven't heard of undercoating before though, it's really simple. This is where you can apply the paint to your whole model, which acts as a foundation for all of the paints to stick to. It's normal for the paint to settle and separate in the pot from time to time, so just give it a good shake until it's smooth and has an even colour throughout. While you're shaking, be sure to hold your finger or thumb over the lid to prevent it from opening accidentally. Then push the lid until it clicks in the tab at the back. This will help keep the pot open while we're using it. Then wet your brush with a little bit of water, wiping away any excess on the paper towel so it's damp but not sodden. And load the bristles with a little paint from the reservoirs inside the lid. Take care not to get paint all the way up the bristles to the metal. This is called the ferrule, and this can damage the brush if it dries inside it. Just getting the paint about halfway up the bristles is fine. I'm also putting paint onto a palette to control how much is on your brush, and then we can start applying it to our model. You can really be messy at this stage, just make sure to get Caliban Green into every nook and cranny and flat surface. You may notice that the first coat might seem to struggle to stick to the plastic. Don't worry though, just keep going and cover as much as you can. Once the first coat is dry, apply a second coat in the exact same way. You'll find the coverage of this paint is much better this time round, and when it's dry, apply a third coat if you really think you need to. The end result should look something like this, with the model covered evenly in this green. Well done! You've just undercoated your first model, and now your Dark Angel is well on his way to being fully painted. Alright, with the model fully undercoated, I'm going to move on to base coating all the other colours. Base coating is where we block in all the main colours of our model. The paints I'm using for this are known as base paints, and they are normally a little bit more pigmented than usual, and this allows me to cover over the details a lot easier. For my first paint, I'll be using Corvus Black, applying a little bit of water to it to help it flow off the brush, and then pick out the ribbing on all the armour. When painting the armour ribbing, I'm just taking a bit more care so I don't get any paint on the green armour panels. If you do make a mistake though, just tidy back up with the previous colour. Once all those details are done, I'll do the same with his hair, belt, and all the rocks on his base. And there we go. With the Corvus Black applied, we've done our first base coat. Now, to move on to the next one. Now I'm going to paint all the details that I want to be gold. For this, I'm going to be using Retributor Armour, which is a nice metallic base paint. So I'm going to pick out the Aquila on his chest, any trinkets I can find, the shoulder trim, gun barrel, as well as the details on the top of his backpack. Just as before, I'll be as careful as I can be when picking out these details. If I do make a mistake, I can easily go back and clean them up with the previous colours. Now this gold is done, I'm going to move on to the silver details next. Next, I'm using lead belcher to paint the metal areas of the gun, little rivets, and the remaining areas on the rest of the armour. Just take a bit of extra care with these details and try to be as neat as you can. I'm mixing lead belcher with a little bit of water, which can help it flow smoothly off my brush so I can control it nicely. You don't have to do this though if it's already working out well for you. It's completely up to you. This is also called thinning your paints. Okay, our metallic details are done. Now to pick out the rest of the base coats. For the gun casing, wax seals, and the eye lens, I'll be using Mephiston Red. The islands in particular can be quite tricky to paint, so just take your time and remember that you can always tidy up with your previous colours. Next, I'll be using Zandri Dust for any parchment, cloth and the soil that we can see on the base. Don't worry if you don't cover the area straight away with this paint. Just make sure the entire area is covered, wait for it to dry completely, and then come back to do another coat. Repeat this until you have a nice solid base coat across all those areas. Zandri Dust takes a couple of layers to get the full coverage, but it's totally worth it as it looks so good when it's completed. And then for the skin, we can use Bugman's Glow. This may also require a few coats, but it is the final base coat that we'll be adding. So let's move on to the next step. Excellent stuff. Up next is to darken all the recesses. For this, I'll use Agrax Earthshade over the entire miniature. This paint is different to the others because it's a shade paint. Shade paints are very thin and they are designed to slightly tint flat surfaces of miniatures while settling into the recesses. You'll notice how this creates depth on the miniature by darkening down those recessed areas. Applying a shade is a quick and easy way to really take your paint job up a notch. We won't need to add any water to this paint, just take it straight from the pot, making sure that there isn't too much on your brush. Agrax Earthshade works over many different base coats, so we can apply it over the whole model, even the base. When you're doing an all-over shade like this, work in small sections. We'll do this because it gives us enough time to fix any areas where we might have applied too much paint. You'll know when you've applied too much because you can see the paint pooling in the recesses or on large flat surfaces, thus clogging up that awesome detail on your model. Don't worry though, fixing it is super easy. Just dry off your brush and soak up the excess paint with your dry bristles. Once the entire model has had Agrax Earthshade over it, let it stand and dry for around 30 minutes. When it has completely dried, just as a finisher, you can paint the base rim as well. You can choose any colour for this really, it's completely up to you. For me, I'm going to pick Corvus Black because I think it frames the miniature nicely. Congratulations, you've painted your first Space Marine of the Dark Angels. You can now follow these exact steps on the rest of your minis too. With that done, you can leave your model there. Or you can follow these next optional stages I'm about to show you. I'm going to move on to doing an optional highlight. For this, I'm using Warpstone Glow layer paint and a small dry brush to highlight the power armor. Layer paints are paints that have slightly less pigment in them that are specifically designed to layer over base paints for highlighting your models. Dry brushing is also a great technique that allows you to quickly brighten the raised areas of your miniature and make your models stand out. Okay, let's grab our dry brush and dip the bristles into the reservoir of the lid. We just need enough to cover the tips of the hairs, like so. To prepare the dry brush, take a paper towel and start removing the paint as best you can by rubbing it in circular motions on the paper. Just be gentle when doing this so that there's still paint on the brush and the paper doesn't rip. As this motion generally removes the moisture, you can really see a trail of paint becoming more faint, which means the brush is ready to use. Now all we're going to do is gently brush over the top of the edges and details like so. Look at how it catches all those raised details without getting any of the paint in the recesses. Amazing stuff really. It's already starting to bring the miniature to life. Using a circular motion when dry brushing really helps with more organic or rounded details, allowing more of the colour to cover those areas. And there we go. My dry brushing highlight looks great now it's finished. Layer paints are very versatile, which means that they are fantastic for all sorts of different applications, and dry brushing highlights is no exception. One last step you can do is to elevate the base even further. As his base is already textured, we won't need to apply texture paints to them. However, I'll be adding some tufts here and there on the base. Tufts are a fantastic way of adding detail to your bases, and they are super easy to use. They come with a little bit of sticky residue on the underside of them too, which allows them to hold themselves on the base, pushing them slightly with my finger into the base until they stick. And now, there we go. My Dark Angels Space Marine is now complete and ready for a scrap. In this video, we've shown you how to paint a Dark Angels Space Marine included in the Warhammer Heroes box, so you can get them on the gaming board in no time at all. We've had lots of fun in this video, and I hope it has given you the inspiration to get your own miniatures painted. For more painting videos, head over to our YouTube channel. Or if you need more hands-on help, you can always pop to one of our Warhammer stores where a friendly staff will be more than happy to help. Thanks for watching, and ciao for now.